Hello everybody, I am Luciana, and in this video we are talking about anger. Urgh. Yes, this video is all about anger. And anger is one of the emotions that most of all deal with the most. It's an emotion that has the ability to destroy our relationships, our career, and even our health. So learning to understand anger and learning how to manage anger is one of the most healing things we can do for ourselves. So I want you to take a moment and remember the last time that you got angry. Just take a moment, think of the last time, maybe sometime recently, where you just felt so angry inside. Maybe something you read on a social media post, somebody cutting you off while you were driving, or maybe an argument with a significant other. And just remember that kind of explosion that happens inside when we feel anger. And I want you to ask yourself, did you choose it? Did you consciously choose for this fire to just light up inside of you and begin to create all of that turmoil? Did you say, you know what? I'm gonna get angry today. It sounds like a good thing to do. No, the answer for all of us is no, we do not choose to get angry. Anger happens. I want you to pay attention how there is a force within us through our emotions where sometimes we do not choose it. And in order to understand anger and why it happens the way that it does, we first have to accept that. It is not a choice. Now, even though we do not choose to get angry, we are responsible of how we act and what we do when we are angry. So those are two completely different things. We do not choose it consciously. It's something that happens, but we are still responsible of what we do and how we act, especially if we don't want to destroy anything in our life. This perspective and understanding this can also be very healing, because if you truly have the humility to accept that you don't choose to get angry when you do, it helps you understand that every time that somebody else has gotten angry at you in your life, they didn't choose it either. So I've been telling you, there's a force within us that kind of explodes, but what causes it? That's the next question. What makes that happen? Anger is an accumulation of disappointments. Every time that something didn't go the way that you expected it, we begin to accumulate a little bit of a disappointment. There's some big disappointments. Maybe something huge happened, you lost your job, or a relationship ended, or there was something that happened with your health and you felt profoundly disappointed. But then there's also the little disappointments. You got on the freeway to go to work and there was traffic and you thought you were gonna be able to stop for some breakfast. Something like that you don't see it as a big deal, but it awakens this feeling of, things are not the way that I expected them to be. And accumulations of big disappointments and little disappointments that we don't know what to do with, or how to handle them, or how to feel them. We accumulate them within ourselves. And what I describe this as is as if they become pieces of a bomb. And when all of the pieces are in place, and that person walks into your life and they say that one comment, it's kind of like when it says a red button and it says do not push. It's kind of like they go and push it, and then you just explode in anger. And sometimes you wonder, or people say, why are you so angry? I just asked you if you washed the dishes, or why are you so angry? I just asked you how the weather was, or I knew if I should take a sweater. Sometimes the amount or the reaction of our anger does not match the situation, because that situation in itself is not why we got angry. It's the accumulation of all those disappointments that maybe it's been years that we've been feeling. So in order to be able to heal our relationship with this emotion, we have to be willing to feel, and especially learn to feel our disappointments. Learn to accept when things don't go our way and feel those emotions at that moment so we don't have to accumulate them and carry them within ourselves. Now, the important thing to understand here is that when we are already in a reaction of anger, that is not the moment to sit down and close our eyes to observe our emotions deeply, because at that moment we're feeling the emotion very strongly in our nervous system, and usually anger wants to make us move or send that text and say something. So what I usually say is, when you're already feeling anger, you've reached that place of explosion, then the important thing to do is to find healthy ways to manage that reaction. You're already in a state of reaction, and those are the moments when you don't want to destroy anything in your life. Now, what does this mean? It may be to step aside, to not be around others, to take some deep, slow, conscious breaths. Sometimes I say, you may even get a dry towel and just do that motion like if you're rinsing it and squishing out the water. Even if you have to throw it on the ground, at a place where you're safe, where you're not gonna affect anybody or hurt anybody or yourself, but just in a very healthy way to release some of that excess energy that comes up when we're angry. But after we do that, and that intense emotion of anger begins to wind down, it does not mean that it is resolved. You want to make sure that you go and address that disappointment. Maybe a lot of you that are watching this, you experience a lot of anger, but you're actually maybe not one of those people that expresses it or yells at somebody. You may keep it inside. The thing is when I share with you that the emotion of anger was destructive, if you project it outside, you may destroy relationships, opportunities, even great things in your life. If you keep it inside, you begin to destroy your own health, because the body cannot sustain for many, many years keeping in all of that anger. So it's so important to do that practice of feeling the disappointment regardless of how you manage the reaction of anger. So the way that I like to do this is through the practice of emotional integration. You guys know I talk about that a lot here because that is what I teach and that is what I practice in my personal life. And it's just going within to allow myself and feel the disappointment. Even at this moment, just take a deep, slow, conscious breath, paying attention to your abdomen, and just acknowledging and asking yourself, what am I disappointed about? And just breathe and feel. Don't answer with your mind. We don't want a quick response. We don't want to fix anything because nothing is broken. We want to learn to feel the disappointment. The feeling that something in your life, either it's not the way that you wanted, it's not the way that you expected, or things didn't go the way that you expected them. Breathe. Feel that disappointment. Feeling these emotions actually makes you stronger. Feeling is the most powerful act of strength. So just simply conscious that you are conscious that there is disappointment within you, even if maybe you don't know exactly why. We don't push the emotion away. We don't run away from it or even force it, but we just accept it as it is. I accept that things did not go the way that I expected them. I allow myself to feel. I open up for healing. Breathe. And if your mind wants to get lost in the story of what happened and who's at fault, during this exercise, you do not want to blame anyone, including yourself. It's not about who's at fault. It's about taking responsibility for what you feel. Breathe. And once you find the emotion and you connect with it, you stay in that emotion as long as you need to. You revisit this exercise for days, months, or years if needed, until you find peace with those disappointments. And what you will notice is that the side effect of this practice is that you just experience less and less and less anger. And actually more and more and more joy. So take a deep breath into your abdomen and slowly begin to come back. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Yes, when we allow ourselves to feel the disappointment, the more we sit there with the emotion, it begins to dissolve. It begins to lose power because we're putting our consciousness and our attention into embracing it and accepting it. And I share with you at the end of the contemplation that the more that you allow yourself to feel the disappointment, the less anger you feel, and the more joy that you feel in your life. You may ask yourself why. And this is because joy and anger are like the opposites, like polar opposites. Think about it. Think about when you explode in anger, like we did at the beginning. Something happens and it's like, just this explosion of anger. And then think of a moment where something super hilarious happened or something super funny. And when it happens, you just explode in laughter and you begin to crack up from deep within yourself. They come from the same place. They carry the same force. But anger is joy, that pure energy of joy of life, but with a judgment, with a disappointment, with it wasn't the way I wanted it. So when we feel the disappointments and remove those judgments, we can begin to just enjoy life simply for what it is. And you will find yourself having more moments of joy. So if you are somebody that deals with a lot of anger, I invite you to do this practice and share with me on social media what you discover and how you feel. I would love to be here to guide you. If you know somebody that could benefit from watching this video, share it with them. But that is all I wanted to share with you today. And I really hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye-bye.